Today's video is a little bit different from my writerly and bookish videos, and we are going to talk about motherhood and mental illness because it is a topic and a discussion that is not as discussed in the motherhood community, and I really do think it needs to be brought to the surface more often. So stick around to talk about it. Welcome to The Right Mama. My name is Jennifer Aline. I am a women's fiction writer, a freelance writer, and the mother of twin girls. This video is going to focus more on the last part of that statement, which is me being the mother of twin girls. I have brought up topics revolving motherhood and pregnancy before, and I've also brought up mental health in the past as well, and I will link all those videos below. But today we're going to specifically talk about mental health and mental illness struggles during pregnancy and motherhood, and how I feel they are not discussed as much in the community with doctors, with professionals, and with friends. And I really think it's important that mental health is recognized the second you find out you're pregnant until forever. I've also mentioned in past videos that I've struggled with mental health since I was 15 years old. I have faced serious depression. I have gone through serious self-harm, suicide attempts, suicidal ideations, and for about 12 years, 13 years, I have been free of self-harm, free of suicidal ideations. All of those things are in my past. However, depression and anxiety still cling to me, and they were very, very big parts of my pregnancy and continue to be very big parts of my motherhood journey. Honestly, before we get into this, I'll admit that going into motherhood, I thought, the cliche of, oh, it's a joy, you will love it, it's the best time of your life, it's wonderful. And though it is, it also isn't all the time. And I think it's really important that moms and moms-to-be go into this not feeling guilty if one day they're like, I'm not feeling it, it's not fun today. Let's get into a little list that I compiled about why mental health needs to be recognized more in the motherhood community. The first one we're going to talk about is prenatal depression, or prenatal depression and prenatal anxiety. And this was something I didn't even know was really a thing. You hear about postpartum depression, but you don't hear about prenatal depression or prenatal anxiety at all. And I think it's because the cliche is out there that when you're pregnant, you're glowing, it's wonderful, and that sometimes is true, but you also may face demons because we're all human. When I was pregnant, it was a very interesting experience. I had a lot of personal outside factors impacting my pregnancy, so I was definitely faced with quite a bit of depression and anxiety. I also took myself off of my meds right away when I found out I was pregnant, so that didn't help either. I was actually put back on a very, very healthy low dose, so I am okay and open to saying that I was on a very low dose of, antidepressants when I was pregnant, and I do think I benefited quite a bit from that. So I'm not one to push that aside fully. I know a lot of people kind of look at that as bad, but for someone who has always struggled with mental health and mental illness, I think it was smart that I went back on because I definitely needed it. I was very depressed during my pregnancy, and I felt very guilty for not being as excited as I should have been. There were other things, like I said, factors going on in my life that impacted that excitement. And it's sad because everybody wants to be excited when they're pregnant, and I've always wanted to be a mom. So not really enjoying my pregnancy makes me sad looking back at it because I have two beautiful little girls from that pregnancy. But I think prenatal depression and anxiety needs to be looked at more. There need to be more specialists and counselors in that realm because it's something that people, I think, are scared to bring up and admit. Especially maybe they do want to go on a low dose of medication, or maybe they want to try something that may help so they don't go back on their meds, but they're feeling the anxiety and the stress and the sadness, and they need to speak up about it and they don't know how to. I think prenatal depression needs to be a topic that is brought forward right away. The second point I'm going to bring up has to do with checkups after the delivery of your child or children. There is usually one checkup for the mom. after the delivery of your child, and that is to make sure all the goods and things are working the way they should, and that's usually at 6 weeks. Of course, some people may have other medical, situations or other this and that make them have to go in to get checked, but normally it's at the 6-week mark. The mom goes in, gets checked, they talk a little bit, enjoy motherhood. I don't think it should be that fast, and I don't think it should be that easy, because it's funny how the kids, the newborns, the infants, they get, pretty much monthly checkups until they're 1. And I feel like the parent, the mom, needs the same thing. I feel like whether it's going back to their OBGYN for checkups, or going to just their normal doctor, or going to a therapist, a monthly check-in for that mom could mentally help her out, especially if she's feeling some postpartum depression, if she's feeling some anxieties she didn't expect. Maybe her hormones are just making her a little bit crazy, because that happens. I just think that it's something that needs to be looked into, because yes, the babies need to be checked on every month, but so does the mom. The mom is a new human when she becomes a mother, and her body feels weird, her mind feels weird. There are so many changes going on. So I do think that there needs to be more than just that 6-week checkup. Number 3 is that being a mom is a lifestyle change. It is a huge, huge lifestyle change. So a lifestyle change plus hormones often leads to a little bit of stress or a little bit of depression and anxiety. And I think that recognizing motherhood as a lifestyle change and mentally trying to prepare as much as you can, which I'll get into preparedness later, but trying to see it as a lifestyle change is also crucial, because yes, I always knew that being a mom is a big change in your life, but not until I walked through the doors with my twin newborns did I realize, holy crap, this is it. It's just a very different lifestyle. And sometimes that selfishness does push through. The mom may want to just walk out the door by herself. She may just want to go for a walk, or just go to a coffee shop, or go meet some friends, but now she's not able to. And that sometimes can get into a mom's head, because she feels selfish for wanting to be her own person and do her own thing, while she also loves her children. So it's hard to balance that, and that balance can often play with a mom's brain and cause some depression. I know it did for me. Number 4, I kind of just brought up, which is feeling the guilt of feeling selfish. So like mom guilt toward feeling selfish for wanting to be your own person. And I don't know how to word that, and I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I think that a lot of moms, once they walk into motherhood, not maybe everybody, they start realizing and feeling selfish for wanting to do certain things, and that makes them feel guilty, and they start feeling some of that mom guilt for wanting to go do this and wanting to do that, wanting a minute to themselves, wanting to lock themselves in the bathroom for like 10 minutes just to sit there and do nothing. They feel guilty for wanting that, because you should love being a mother all the time. It's joyous all the time. So sometimes people feel that mom guilt toward selfishness. I don't really know how else to word this, and maybe I'll find a better way to word it. I just heard people use the phrase, I feel guilty for feeling selfish and wanting time for myself. And that causes depression. That can cause anxiety. That can cause a lot of stress. When a mom already has a whole bunch on her plate, you don't want to add that to it. Number 5 has to do with social media and influencers. And I'll say that social media definitely impacts everything that we do, because we're in 2020, almost 2021, especially this year in the year of COVID. We were all living on social media much more than we ever have before. And while influencers, those who have a tremendous following and post beautiful photos, the mom influencers, while they're doing a better job showing realistic expectations of motherhood, there's also many unrealistic expectations that are still on social media and still out in the influencer community. And though I think that that is improving, I do think that more realistic expectations and more real, raw motherhood needs to be out there and shown. I know that social media is the highlight reel. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see all smiley pictures of my girls, when they're like that maybe half the time. So I play a part too when it comes to the highlight reel of motherhood, and that's social media. And I do think that more of the realistic life should be shown through those influencers who have such a tremendous following, because some people who are really in a dark place when they're pregnant or as a new mom, they scroll and they want to be like those people, and if they feel like they're not, that can mentally really hurt them. Number 6 has to do with the stress from friends and family. And I didn't want to add this one because I have great friends and I have a great, supportive, ridiculously wonderful family. And I'm adding this just because friendships change. People change when they become a mother. And you'll realize that maybe your parenting beliefs aren't the same as a friend, or maybe one friend just isn't connecting with you the way that they used to. Or maybe a family member is kind of trying to show you or tell you how to parent your children, or try to push you to nurse when you want a formula feed. You're going to find out where this connection with these people stand when you become a mom. And it's hard because you don't want to push away relationships and friendships. You want to stay as close to as many people as you can. You need support. You need a system supporting you. And I'll just say that sometimes family and friends, they can cause a little bit more stress than support. And if that's somebody who is causing that over time for a long period of time, you may have to step back and think about that relationship and about your mental health. And the last one we're going to talk about today is number 7, which is a statement that I really think that new moms need to think about as they enter motherhood. That statement is that you are never fully prepared for motherhood. Yes, you may want to be a mom and a parent all your life. Yes, you may read the books, take the classes, have a degree in education and social work. Maybe you've worked in the field, working at daycares, working at schools, working with troubled youth. That's what I did for a really long time, honestly. That was my career line. And when I laid there and they handed over those 2 girls to me, I was a blank slate. You can walk into motherhood trying your best and really doing as much as you can to mentally prepare yourself, but you never know what that little baby or babies, who they are, what behaviors they might have, what fears they might have, what medical struggles they may come up with over time. You don't know it. So really, you can never be prepared for absolutely everything. You can do your best. You can put yourself in every class and really make sure you and your partner, if you're working together with this, are as ready as you can be. But it's also good mentally, I believe, to also face the fact that you will not know it all. You will not be prepared with absolutely everything for every single time. And you also need to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. If you need to go to a physical therapist after delivery of your child, schedule it. I worked with my sister, who's a physical therapist, before I jumped into Ariel after I had my girls. If you want to schedule therapists so you're ready to attack any mental health demons that come your way during postpartum, do that. Try to plan as much as you can and prepare yourself, but realize you will not fully be prepared for motherhood, because it is a crazy, joyous, stressful, beautiful, wonderful time. And it's okay for all of those adjectives to be in there. It doesn't just have to be pregnancy is beautiful and motherhood is great. You can add all the other adjectives, because we are human and we're not always happy all the time. And it's okay if you feel something, because you should. So thank you very much for listening to this video. I talked about some pretty serious stuff, and I know that some people may not agree with all this. All moms are different. Motherhood beliefs and lifestyles are totally different all around. And that's okay. You don't have to believe in all this and agree with all of it. But I do think mental health needs to be brought forward much sooner and more often throughout pregnancy and into the world of motherhood with a woman, because it's important, and you want to make sure that your mental state is ready, because the happier you are, the happier your kids will be. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe below with the thumbs up button. I post every Friday, usually some writerly stuff, some publishing stuff, and I mix it up with some motherhood madness in there. So thank you very much. Stay created, and stay caffeinated. I like that much left in here.